Hi, it's Jnwynn with Scraptastic Yarns Podcast. Today is October the 9th, and it is a Tuesday. And I have a small little rant. My husband and I yesterday, we decided we needed to get new cell phones. Mainly because my husband in teaching uses his cell phone to hook into his computer there at the school and to use it for his slide presentations, those kind of things. And his cell phone had gotten to the point where it was not holding a charge, so the battery is dying. And you know, we've had our cell phones for close to 6 years, the current ones that we have. So really it was time to go and get new phones. So we went to our local Verizon store, which is our carrier for our phone and our internet and our cell phones. And this is a fairly new store that has opened up. Someone had said give them a chance. We've always gone to the one in State College because we've had excellent service. And we decided, okay, we're going to do that. So we go in to the store, and the kid that was, I don't think they had anyone that was over 22 working that evening, yesterday evening when we went in, which was about maybe 5:45, because Apple, for some reason, in the past we've been able to back things up on just using our iCloud. Well, apparently in one of my backups on my phone, it stopped the backup because I didn't have enough gigabytes of space on iCloud. And I did not know that my phone was downloading emails. I don't look at emails on my phone, so I had no clue. 2.6 gigabytes of email. So we had to go through and, delete that. And then we had to do a backup of my phone. So it took quite a while. So that's why we went in that evening when we realized we had to have the backup. And my phone hadn't been backing up. So this kid sits down, we give him the information. And he's trashing Apple. Now we use Apple products. We've had PCs. I've had Samsung phones. I think Samsung phones are fine for people who like using them, but I really don't care for them. I had issues with the two Samsungs that I've had in the past. We chose to go with Apple because we use Apple products at home. And this kid was trashing it. And he looks in, he tells us he can't get us a better deal. So we're stuck with 10 gigabytes between the two of us each month of data. And I'm thinking, whatever. But the kid kept trashing it. Now, my husband, at the time, we weren't really interested in getting the iPhone 10. Because neither one of us are big fans of not having the home button on the cell phone. So this kid finally comes out and he goes, well, I got good news and bad news. Bad news is I don't have any of the, because what we were looking at was getting the iPhone 8 Plus, because it had the home button. So the kid goes, well, we don't have any in. That's the bad news. Good news is we can order it and it should be here in about 3 days. Well, my husband's phone now is not working well. Really poorly. So we were looking to be able, we've never not been able to walk out of a store with it. So my husband is, griping about it as we leave. He decides not to order. I said, well, let's just go to State College. So we get up to State College, and we're looking at the iPhone 8 Plus. We asked the gentleman that was serving us, and he said, well, I'll be honest with you. Yeah, we don't have any in stock right now. We can order it, but I'm telling you, even though it says 3 days to a week, you're probably looking at a delivery date of the 17th. Probably not until the 26th when the new iPhones drop. And we asked about the new iPhones. He told us. He said, yeah, they're going to be about $300 cheaper than the iPhone 10 currently is and those kind of things. He said, we may or may not get any 8s in. You know, people are buying those left and right. We don't know if we'll get any in or not. So then, you know, he'd asked about, well, what are your current needs? And Thomas explained about the phone, not holding a charge, those kind of things. And he said to him, he goes, well, what is it you have against the iPhone 10? And Thomas told him, we like the home button. So the fellow went through and he was explaining, you know, how the iPhone 10 works, because, you know, you can't use the thumbprint. That's something my husband likes using on his phone for his security. I don't worry about that because I don't have anything that needs to be highly secured. He does, because he does things for the government. You know, he works for 2 different government agencies doing consulting, those kind of things. So he has to have certain things. He has to have a higher security on the phone. So he chooses to use 2 or 3 different ways to get into that system, the encrypted portion of the phone that he uses. So, you know, this guy was really selling this phone. And he said, you know, the home button, I'm telling you now, within the next year, no one is going to have a home button on the phones. So you might as well look at it, try to figure out if you can use it, those kind of things. And my question about the facial recognition, you know, do I have to have that on the phone? And he asked me why I was concerned, and I had said to him, my concern is, I don't know if you heard the story about the woman that was taking selfies with her phone, but she noticed each picture kept progressively getting worse, and she realized she was having a stroke. And I said, you know, would it recognize me if there was something like that going on? And he showed me how immediately, if you have that problem, that there are 2 buttons that you hold down and you immediately can call 911. That sold me right there on this phone. And my husband was very impressed. No, you don't have to have the facial recognition. And no, they don't have the thumbprint yet. But, you know, you may or may not ever get that back again. Although the Chinese do have something that uses a thumbprint. And I believe Apple in the future will be adding that in once they get the Gorilla Glass onto the phones. That was our second concern. I dropped my phone. And he said, well, you don't have to worry about it being waterproof in these new life-proof cases. Pretty much like the other ones, you know. The only thing is, you know, I would get the tempered glass front, those kind of things. He said, I've dropped mine several times, have no issue. And I said, well, okay. So we wound up going home that evening with new iPhones. My rant is this. I don't care what you're coming in to buy. When you go into a store that sells phones, you ought to do the best you can at your job. Not only that, but this guy looked through some programs, and, you know, Thomas gets a discount through the university for using Verizon. We still got that discount. On top of that, we now have unlimited data, and It's like $25 a month cheaper than what we're paying now. The other kid didn't even care to really sell us what we wanted. Granted, you may not like the product that we have, but you ought to know everything about the products you're selling in your store. Everything. This guy could tell us everything about every phone that they sell, and they sell Galaxies, Motos, the whole 9 yard. Samsung, they sell all of that in the Verizon store there in State College. We have never had an issue using that store. So Thomas and I, we made an agreement that from now on we will simply go to that store because these guys, they know their stuff, they know their tech, they know everything that there is to know about it, and if they don't, they go ask the manager. This kid couldn't, in our local store, couldn't have cared less about selling us a thing. He was like, oh, you really ought to go to Samsung. And, finally, I looked at the kid and I said, we're not interested in Samsung. You need to get that through your head. We want Apple. So, that's my rant. Today is bingo. It's early in the morning. It's about 8 o'clock. So, I'm doing a little bit of crocheting. And, later on, I've got to get some items sewn up for the shop. The sale with the shop has really wiped out my stock, and I had intended on sewing all day yesterday afternoon, but we spent all day yesterday afternoon messing with these phones and issues with the phones, and it was just crazy. So now that that's done, I can get back into sewing, getting those things done, and I have a quilt I need to put together. Some of the bags that I'm working on, I am doing some free motion quilting on them, simply because I'm using batting in the padding of the bags. I'm going to add a couple of different styles in there. I have always liked making tote bags as well, so I will be adding those back in. I have a couple of what I call diaper bag pouches. They're just pouches that you can throw a diaper in and, run off to do whatever you need to do with the diaper wipes, just a small, like a clutch. And, yeah. I have been thinking about doing something that I'm going to call Tunisian Tuesdays, where I am going to show you what I'm working on. It's not going to start this week. Where I'm going to show you the Tunisian that I'm working on. I do want to build up my Tunisian crochet skills. I do enjoy Tunisian crochet, with the exception of that one shawl that I have sitting over here, that whip. But I have determined I'm going to get that finished up so that you can see. I may even show you the issues that I have with that. And I will say this. I do like, I want to say it's AOB Knees. I'm butchering her name. The Irish gal that has the patterns. But like I said, my big issue with that is I have contacted her every way that I can. I've not gotten any answers, and I'm not willing to go on to her Patreon page in order to get those answers, because I don't think I should have to pay for those answers. I've already paid for the patterns. So, yeah. But I'm thinking about next week showing the issue that I have with those with that shawl. Simply because if you're not going to answer the question, You know, my big problem, like I said, was I don't care how you work this. The math does not work up to what her math does in that pattern. There's been no updates on it. Like I said, I've tried to contact her every way I know how. Facebook, email, through Ravelry, through her web page. Gotten nothing. So, you know, I hope that I don't ever get to the point where I don't answer people. I may be slow at answering, but I always try to answer people when they ask questions. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm just making a mountain out of a molehill. Who knows? Yes, I was going to tell you too, in this area, I've never seen any beavers in real life. You know, I've seen them on TV, I've seen pictures of them. When we were leaving the fire hall the other day, my friend lives across the street from the fire hall, and as we were leaving down the main road right there, and the fire hall sits right on the side of the creek, and I see this thing running across the street, and I'm thinking, well, that's not a groundhog. It was a beaver. First time in my life I've ever seen a real life beaver walking across the street. So I was telling the girls about that yesterday, and the funny thing was the girl goes, oh yeah, he was in my backyard. I've been seeing him for about a week or so. And we had no clue that there were beavers in that creek. And apparently there is a beaver, and she was laughing. She's, you know, because I teased her. I said, well, maybe he was out there, he wanted to see your flowers. She goes, no, I think he was eyeing the tree. So, but anyway, I got to see a beaver in real life. You may not think that's amazing. I do. One of my other goals is in this area, there is a lot of elk. And I've never gotten to see the elk. And there is a time of year here now that is the rutting season. And there is a area where there are a lot of elk. I do have a friend that they went camping up there. They got some great video of the elk. They had a male elk that he did He did bellow, and his posse of females came out of the woods, and I think they counted 18 females that are his women. So it was just interesting, you know, to see those videos. But I would like to actually see it in person one of these days. So I'm looking to, like I told my husband, that's on my list. I'm going to, actually, I want to go see that. And if he doesn't want to go, I'll go up, I'll take a picnic and, you know, stay in the area so I can actually get some video. And, yeah. One of the other things that is on my bucket list is a train ride. I've never been on a train. I do have a train ride ticket to do November the 9th. And it is one that is, we do take a bit of a train ride and we get served lunch on the train. Then after that, we go by bus to another area where we will do some shopping, and then we will hit the dinner, no, not dinner theater, one of the theaters around down Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, you know, that kind of area. And we will see a Christmas play, and from there we will stop and have dinner on the way home, but it's just a day trip. So I'm going to get that off my bucket list as well. And I'm thrilled. So that's it for today. I will see you again tomorrow. So everybody have a great day. And remember to be kind. Bye.